The hum of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner filled the night sky 35,000 feet above the Atlantic. Flight 783 from Washington, D.C. to London was just another routine trip until a piercing scream tore through the cabin. Four masked men surged from their seats, black balaclavas concealing their faces, guns gleaming under the dim cabin lights. "Nobody move," one barked, his voice cutting through the chaos as passengers gasped and cowered. A child sobbed, a businessman dropped his phone, and a flight attendant froze mid-step, hands trembling. The air thickened with terror, every heart pounding except one. In seat 12A, a tomb guard sat motionless, his broad shoulders relaxed, his sharp eyes scanning the scene with a calm that seemed almost unnatural. Daniel Hayes, a man forged in the silent discipline of Arlington's hallowed grounds, wasn't just another passenger trained to honor the fallen. He'd faced death before, in battles no one spoke of. As the hijackers barked orders and the cabin descended into panic, no one noticed the quiet soldier among them, his mind already racing, calculating exits, weapons, and odds. What they didn't know, what no one could have guessed, was that the man in jeans and a navy polo was about to turn their nightmare into his mission. Before we dive into this story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe that values like honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. The cabin of Flight 783, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner bound for London Heathrow, hums with a low murmur of passengers settling in. Families stow carry-ons, business travelers tab at laptops, and a few kids fidget with tablets. In seat 12A, Daniel Hayes is quietly, a hardcover book on military history resting in his lap. At 32, he's tall, lean, with the disciplined posture of a soldier even in civilian clothes, jeans, a navy polo, and sneakers. His eyes, sharp and watchful, scan the cabin, a habit from his days as an Army Ranger and now as a tomb guard at Arlington National Cemetery. He's headed to London for a US-UK military memorial, a rare break from his silent vigil at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Daniel's gaze lingers on four men boarding, separately. They're dressed differently, one in a suit, another in a hoodie, the others in casual jackets, but subtle markers connect them. Identical black watches, the way they avoid eye contact yet seem aware of each other's positions, their carry-ons stowed with precise care. Daniel's instincts prickle, but he keeps his expression neutral, flipping a page in his book. Beside him, in 12B, a woman introduces herself. "Hi, I'm Aisha Khan," she says, her voice warm but professional. She's 34, a surgeon with dark hair tied back and a small medical bag tucked under her seat. "Just heading to a conference in London," she adds, offering a smile. Daniel nods politely. "Daniel Hayes, good to meet you." He keeps it short, not one for small talk, but notes her calm demeanor. She might be useful if things go sideways. In the cockpit, Captain Sarah Mitchell, 45, runs through her pre-flight checklist with practiced ease. A former Air Force pilot, she's steady under pressure, her brown hair pulled into a neat bun beneath her captain's hat. Her first officer, Tom Rivera, checks the weather. "Smooth sailing after we clear Newfoundland," he says, his voice light. Sarah adjusts her reading glasses. "Let's make this a good one, Tom. Last transatlantic before my vacation." They share a chuckle, unaware of the storm brewing in the cabin. The intercom crackles. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Mitchell. Welcome aboard Flight 783 to London Heathrow. We're expecting a flight time of about 7 hours with favorable conditions. Sit back, relax, and we'll get you there safely." The plane lifts off smoothly, climbing through scattered clouds into the darkening sky. Dinner service passes, the cabin lights dim, and most passengers drift into sleep or focus on in-flight movies. Daniel, however, stays alert, his eyes half closed but scanning the cabin every few minutes. 3 hours into the flight, it happens. The first man rises abruptly, heading toward the rear lavatory. 30 seconds later, the second moves forward. The third and fourth scan simultaneously, pulling black balaclavas over their faces and drawing concealed handguns from their carry-ons. "Nobody move. Hands where we can see them," the tallest shouts, grabbing a flight attendant, Brianna, and pressing a gun to her side. Chaos erupts. A woman screams, a child wails. Passengers jolt awake, hands raised in panic. "This aircraft is now under our control," another terrorist announces, his accent clipped and hard to place. "Stay in your seats and no one gets hurt." In the cockpit, alarms flash as the cabin pressure door sensor triggers. Sarah activates the lockdown protocol, sealing the reinforced door. "Tower, this is Flight 783. We have a security situation in the cabin. Request immediate assistance." Her first officer pulls up the cabin surveillance feed. The monitors show 4 armed men taking positions throughout the plane. Passengers cower. Flight attendants are herded to the front galley, hands behind their heads. "Jesus," Tom whispers, his voice tight. Sarah scans the screens, her Air Force training kicking in. "Stay focused, Tom. We follow protocol." She radios again. "Atlanta Center, Flight 783. Security incident confirmed. Entering emergency transponder code." In the cabin, Daniel remains still, his breathing steady, unlike the trembling passengers around him. His eyes track the terrorists' movements, noting their positions: one near the front galley, one mid-cabin, 2 at the rear. He calculates distances to the nearest emergency exits: 10 rolls forward, 8 rolls back. Aisha, beside him, whispers, "What's happening?" Her voice is low, controlled. "Stay calm," Daniel murmurs. "Just watch." The lead terrorist, a lean man with intense eyes visible through his mask, steps forward. His name, Daniel will later learn, is Khalid El-Bayedi. "Communication devices in the trash bins," Khalid orders. "Anyone caught with the phone gets a bullet." Passengers scramble to comply, tossing phones into a bag held by one of the terrorists. A businessman in a suit tries to slip his phone into his pocket. The nearest terrorist spots him, slamming the butt of his gun into the man's shoulder. The businessman collapses with a groan. Clutching his